Thank you very much for making a date. Welcome back to the marketplace. Now, a former Minister of Finance and Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Kwabena Dufour, who is also a shareholder of the defunct Unibank Ghana Limited, has sued the central bank as part of processes to reclaim the defunct Unibank. The Bank of Ghana, on August 1, 2018, revoked the license of the company on grounds of insolvency. But in a suit at the High Court Financial Division, Dr. Dufour is praying the court to order the central bank to return Unibank to its owners.
Dr. Dufour is asking for an order of injunction restraining the Bank of Ghana from confiscating Unibank by its purported vesting of good assets and liabilities in Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited. Dr. Dufour and the other shareholders also want a declaration that the license purportedly granted to the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited was not granted in accordance with Act 930 and therefore is null and void. The suit is also asking a declaration that the good assets and liabilities of Unibank, including deposits of depositors, cannot be lawfully vested in Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited. According to Dr. Dufour's lawyers, the Bank of Ghana acted unreasonably and in bad faith in revoking the license of Unibank. But Joy Business sources within the central bank say under the official administrator, the directors were removed and their powers resided with the administrator. So beyond contacting them as individuals to respond to issues that concern them, the board did not exist as a legal body for a report to be shared with them.
Meanwhile, former Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Asiedu Mante, has jumped to the defense of the Bank of Ghana over actions taken to revoke licenses of some banks. According to him, the central bank has a right to protect depositors' funds through any necessary means as mandated by the law. He explains in an interview with Joy Business.
No, my attitude to this is that what is the whole idea of supervision? The whole idea of supervision is to protect depositors' money. Your money, your savings, my savings. And the question I ask is, has any depositor lost money? And the answer is no. So it means the supervisor is doing the right thing. Because if the supervisor has sat down for the bank to sink, like DKM or whatever, and depositors would have lost money, then I'll put the blame on the central bank for not supervising well. But then they realized that the bank or the banks were heading in the wrong direction. So they had to step in to avoid losses to depositors. So I think it's the right decision taken. But let me also say this. Most people think that, or hear about withdrawal of a license, they think it's a sudden something. The Bank of Ghana decides a bank is not performing, therefore takes away the license. No, that's not what happens. It's the last resort that central bank resorts to when a bank is not performing. There are regulations about banks reporting to the central bank. Some are done on weekly basis, some are done on monthly basis, some are done on quarterly basis. And there are people at the banking supervision department whose job is to go through all these returns that come in from the banks. And when they have reason to believe that something is not going right, they write to the bank. So these corrective measures, they are ongoing thing. It's not something that, is done awkwardly. It's something that takes place on a daily basis. So after they visited the site and done the inspection, on-site inspection, they also produce a report, and they tell in the report, they indicate what is going right and what is not going wrong. And they leave it with the management of the bank. Sometimes they discuss with the board, discuss with the management. So all these things take place. Now, when there's clear evidence that the bank, notwithstanding all this, is heading in the wrong direction, that's when the license is withdrawn. You might have heard, at least I've read in the statement, that there was a liquidity support given to the bank, some of these failing banks, right? Why would the central bank do that? Because they realized the banks were illiquid as a result of maybe mismanagement or whatever. So Bank of Ghana tried to support them liquidity-wise, right? Now, when you continue doing this, you churn in a report, you write into the bank, be careful about this, look at this, you're heading in the wrong direction, and still nothing seems to be improving, that's when you pull the plug.
And in another development, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is making a strong case for the Bank of Ghana to review how it grants licenses to financial institutions. According to Ken Ofori-Atta, the current development in the banking sector shows the abuse of the lending processes, which is part of the challenges facing the sector. The minister spoke at the Dankwa Institute /CTFM Forum on the banking sector, maintaining that everything will be done to protect the local interests.
So it is really, I think, one of the most reflective periods in our financial industry. And it is a call to duty as we try to understand, to fix what we have come to see. But again, I believe that the leadership at the Bank of Ghana has risen up to the challenge in a period that happens to be one of the most, I guess, reprehensible in our financial industry and maybe in the many years to come. So we came into government with energy to re-energize the financial system and strengthen the architecture. Our aim was to implement policies that will ensure that we lower costs of credit to the private sector, shift focus to capital markets and securitization, speed up work on the establishment of the Ghana Commodities Exchange, and set up a National Development Bank to focus on industry and agriculture. Essentially a robust system to be able to take the country where we want to go beyond aid. But since January 2017, we've been confronted with information on the industry that reflects widespread systemic abuse and historic ineptitude in protecting our industry that is at the heart of our future. The asset quality review done by the Bank of Ghana in 2016 set a tone for what is to confront the government.
Let's still stay within the banking space because the World Bank has lauded measures taken by the Central Bank of Ghana to sanitize the banking sector. Country Director of the World Bank, Henry Kerali, in an interview with Joy Business, noted the move is a good one. He advised aggrieved shareholders of defunct banks to use the necessary structures to seek redress if not satisfied with the central bank's actions. Ebenezer Sabuti has more in this report.
I have seen the actions taken by Bank of Ghana in resolving 5 banks that were failing, or I should say ailing. This is a welcome piece of action because without that, it could have impacted the broader financial sector in Ghana. So we do welcome the actions taken by Bank of Ghana, and we look forward to working with them to further strengthen the remaining banks and also the new consolidated bank to ensure that depositors' funds are safe.
What of the argument that some of the shareholders claim the central bank have not been fair to them?
These are issues that they have several avenues of recourse. There are avenues to go through the legal system where necessary, and they have the right, obviously, to go to the legal channels to resolve that. But I cannot speak for actions taken by Bank of Ghana. All I can say is that the legal systems in Ghana are robust enough to be able to address any problems that are left over.
Country Director Henry Kerali actually sharing those thoughts when he spoke earlier with Ebenezer Sabuti. Now, some entrepreneurs are worried financial institutions would be affected by the collapse of some 7 banks. Most of the banks that have been liquidated by the Bank of Ghana were heavy on SME financing with some competitive interest rates. The current development has affected some startup operators who are still thinking about the way out. This is because most of the big banks were heavy funding startups. Komensa is chief executive of the startup firm African Network for Entrepreneurship.
That's what we were talking about ever since BOJ even expressed interest in recapitalizing the banks and moving them off from where they are, 120 to 400 million. And we're saying that they should do it in different phases, and then they should categorize the businesses depending on what their focus areas are. Because if a bank, even though it's an investor bank, is serving SMEs, then at least its recapitalization should not be the same as a bank that is focused on commercial and high-ticket transactions. But unfortunately, they didn't listen to us. Because most of these universal banks, especially the ones that are going to survive, are not... It's expensive to deal with SMEs. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. And even with my program with Premium Bank, that was a help station, the bank was intentional about helping the businesses to build the capacity and structuring their business in such a way that when money goes in, it comes out, and it makes enough interest for them to pay whatever loans and facilities they've been giving. So it's unfortunate that 7 banks that were heavy on SMEs have gone down. And you would see its ripple effect in other businesses, even closely or indirectly associated with them.
What are your fears?
That there will be no access to capital. I mean, even because with the banks, if you show traction and there is a track record of what you've done with your business in terms of sales, you'll be able to attract some financing, even though, and the bank were actually the most safe places to get financing from, because their interest rates were competitively quite low, and they were interested in ensuring that your business grows, because the bigger you grow as a business, the more facility you get. So my fears are, now that these banks, most of them, some of them are existing, but most of the ones that were able to or were willing to bank on these entrepreneurs, now that they are not there, then access to finance, cost of finance, and even having a place where people are interested in helping your business grow is going to be non-existent.
Let's move away from banking now. And Ghana and the Ivory Coast are to embark on rehabilitation of their cocoa farms through cutting down of overaged tree stalks and other trees infected by the diseases like swollen shoot. This comes after the two countries secured some $600 million from the African Development Bank to allow them cut down over 680,000 hectares of cocoa from farmlands and replanting them. The facility, according to Chief Executive of the Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahin Edu, so the rehabilitation has become necessary to prevent the swollen shoe disease from spreading. He was speaking to Joy Business at the sidelines of 2018 Cocoa Managers Conference at the Bunsu Cocoa College at Bunsu in the Eastern Region.
The rehabilitation has to do with cutting down old cocoa tree stock and then diseased trees, specifically trees that have been affected by the cocoa swollen shoot virus disease. The only remedy is to cut the trees, and in Ghana, 40% of our tree stock has been affected by either cocoa swollen shoot virus disease or the trees are overaged. And all these trees are going to be cut. That comes to 680,000 hectares of cocoa farmland. And all that area will have to be cut. We are looking for money from African Development Bank. We are looking for $600 million. Cote d'Ivoire is also looking for $600 million. The part of our money will be used for this program, cutting down the trees, and that will cost about $200 million be used for that. Even that amount will not be enough, but that can only treat about 100,000 hectares of cocoa farmland. It will mean that we still have to look for more money if we are to do complete rehabilitation of the cocoa farm area affected by disease and pests, and then overage, situation. At the moment, Cocoa Board on its own, is doing something small. That is using part of our internal revenue to do a rehabilitation of some of the farms. We anticipate that the African Development Bank facility may mature somewhere next year. And for that reason, the board has decided to cut 10,000 hectares of the disease farms, starting in the Sefi area. But that's where the disease is most severe. So we want to start in the Sefi area. And we are going to do that on Thursday. And we are doing it jointly with Cote d'Ivoire. So the Cote d'Ivoire counterpart of Ghana Cocoa, which we call the Lucanse de Café Cacao,
A number of rural dwellers are left out when it comes to dispensing credit through microfinance in the country. This is partly because they are virtually cut off and cannot easily be reached. It is against this backdrop that Vision Fund Ghana is partnering other companies in the northern region to help 7 women groups within the Bole and Sola districts to establish their own microfinance systems to extend loans to farmers. Martina Bukiri reports.
Are offered a box with seed capital to begin a trade. Then they are trained on how to increase the fund and eventually pay back the seed capital. Each woman now with a trade is expected to make a minimum contribution of 2 cedis and above, depending on how much income one makes a week. The money is then mobilized and given to people as loans who intend pay back with interest. The interest is then shared among the women according to how much they have contributed. Programs coordinator for Jack Sale, Jeremiah Seydu, said it is a way of empowering the women to be economically independent.
5 groups in this community are getting to disburse close to 40,000 Ghana cedis. And you can see how they reacted when we were talking to them about it. It meant that they are willing to take that loan, they are willing to use it, they are willing to pay back, and they are willing to grow. So generally for us, our motivation as an organization is to support women, identify their potential, and live life fully.
The Social Performance and Integration Manager of Vision Fund, Nelly, said their aim is to support women, cater for their families, especially their children, adding that their hope is to see each child have life in its fullest.
In our years of work in Ghana, we work with women groups largely. And what we do is that we give them financing support to grow their businesses in a way that they will have enough returns to take care of the needs of their children. We work in partnership with World Vision Ghana. And if you know World Vision Ghana is a charitable organization. Our Vision Fund Ghana comes in to complement the work of World Vision Ghana. And what we do is to give money out to these women groups we work with and support their cause so that they can also support the dreams and the cause of their children.
Now let's go on the lighter side of business now and imagine an invention that could catch cheating wives or husbands. Well, that could be quite interesting. Odile Ntiama recently spoke with Okwoba Jesse, the inventor. Let's see what he says.
Furniture maker Nana Komeas, well, student actually put this electronic bed on social media, and that's how I discovered them. Now, basically, they said they produce electronic beds, so I was really curious, and today I'm here at East Lake on one of their showrooms to find out exactly what this electronic bed can do. Right behind me, as you can see the light there, if I didn't have light right here, that was supposed to light up the room in a romantic way. It has 2 sets of lights. One is white, one is red. Depending on the color that I choose, they can make it for me. Then this particular one also powers the television set that is right before me. And if I wanted to connect it to the rest of the world, I could do that via satellite. The electronic bed is not done. If I want to charge my phone, I could do that right here at the top, and also power any other thing, including my laptop. So right here on this bed, I could do anything electronical. I should just name it, and the bed will produce. I'm off to talk to the inventor himself to find out exactly how he came up with all of this. How did you come up with this idea?
It's just a dream. I have a dream. Then I decided to bring this out. So it took me like 2 years before I invented all this. This electronic bed, we have power fluctuation. In case of over voltage, you're going to cut it. And the sound system too, I fix it all myself. And the television, I fix it all myself. Yeah.
Wow. So when you had the dream, what was in the dream? Was somebody giving you an instruction, or what did you see in the dream for which you were able to manufacture this?
Yeah, me already, I'm a furniture man. but my furniture, I didn't do any electronic, but I didn't do something like this. So I have the dream, and somebody was holding my hand to show me something. As Okoba, if you wake up, go and do this. Go and do this measurement. If you combine this capacitor or transistor, we're going to generate this power for you.
Wow.
I'm coming out with a new model with a security camera, so that when you travel, if your husband brought any lady or woman to the room, you can watch it directly on your phone.
Yeah, whoa. Are you serious?
Yeah.
All those men and women who have been doing two timing, be sure that you would be caught, because there's a bed coming up.
That's quite an interesting invention there, and we'll bring you more of that next week on Joy Business Van. But for now, let's have a teaser of what to expect this evening on Business Live for the Joy Business Van.
I was in school and I had the interest of learning photography, so I took a few online courses from Shaw Academy and a few other places. I watched a couple of YouTube videos, and then I saved towards a camera. I got a camera, and then I started shooting. And friends would call me, "Oh, we have this event. Can you come and shoot for us?" And I'll go. I went for a shoot in the evening. I got back after 11. I was walking to the hostel, and then I got robbed. So I didn't have the gear anymore. So I was saving towards buying a new gear, set of gear. Then in the process, I bought a few things with 500 cedis. That was how I started. Then a couple of friends came and they said, "I want to borrow your gear for a shoot." And I said, "No, I can't borrow it. I can't lend it to you. But if you want to buy it, I could sell it to you at this price." And then they bought it. So I was thinking, so if they're able to buy my gear and I sold it for a slightly higher price, I was able to get some money. Why don't I buy the same things and sell to other people who may be interested?
And that's how it all began for Shika, who now has a dream of owning Ghana's #1 audiovisual hub. Currently a proud owner of Shika Kope, a small shop offering a variety of equipment ranging from camera protective gear to tripod stands.
So don't miss the full story on the Joy Business Fan on Business Live tonight with Daryl and Sandy. And on that note, we wrap up this afternoon's edition of the Marketplace. It's been great having you on board. My name is Emmanuel Boaji. Have a good afternoon.